on in. Let's begin.
All right, here we go.
So, let me begin by, we made an announcement here at the summit that I want to share with everybody on the Moonshots podcast. Something near and dear to my heart, something that I've concocted with the X Prize board, which both Dave and Salim are on, which is the launch of a global competition called the Future Vision X Prize. So I, for one, am just sick and tired of all the dystopian content on TV and in the movies. We are basically being brainwashed that all AI and robots are dystopian, killer AIs, killer robots, it's Terminator, it's Black Mirror. And in fact, if you see that, if that's the only future that you see, then why would you ever want to live there?
Yeah, that's so true. So much of what we build is intentional, and it comes right out of our vision of the future that comes straight from the media, and then we create what we see.
Yeah.
If you change what we see, you're going to change what we build.
Yeah, I say over and over again, we're holding two futures in superposition. One future is Star Trek, where we're collaborative with technology, we're working with technology, and that's an amazing future. That's the one I want for myself and my family and my community. The other one is the dystopian future. It is Terminator, it's Black Mirror, it's one where technology is suppressing us, not enabling us. So about a year ago, I sat down with Rod Roddenberry, the son of Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, and said, how about we do something to incentivize the next generation of Star Treks? Then I went on to my friends at Google. They brought in Range Media. We brought in the X Prize that is operating this competition. We raised $3.5 million for a competition that launched yesterday and is going to go through the Moonshot Gathering, which I'll mention in a minute, on September 25th, the finales. Let's roll the video. You know, this exists because of a TV show, and I'm not exaggerating. Martin Cooper, the man who invented the mobile phone, said he built it because he saw it on Star Trek. He saw Captain Kirk flip open a communicator and thought, hey, I can make that real. The iPad, it started as a prop in Star Trek 2. Video calls, Star Trek. Voice assistants, Star Trek again. Props became products. Fiction became multi-trillion-dollar industries. So here's the question. What's a vision of the future that excites you? What stories offer humanity a hopeful, compelling, and abundant vision of what's to come? We're putting up $3 million in prize money plus millions in film financing to make your movie. Our program, in partnership with the X Prize Foundation, Google, and Ranged Media Partners, is called the Future Vision X Prize. And it's one of the world's largest competition to address humanity's greatest need, hope. Create a trailer or a short film, 3 minutes or less. Show us and the world your vision of the future. That vision could become the next blueprint for all of humanity. Find out more and register at futurevisionxprize.com. So whether you're watching this on X or you're watching this on YouTube and you're a creator, please go and register. By the way, how awesome was that opening video from CJ Trueheart, one of our Abundance members here, who gave us our first outro piece and started a tradition that we've all enjoyed so very much. So thank you for that. All right, next up, we're announcing something important here for all our Moonshot listeners, that we are a go with the Moonshot Gathering. About 500 of you put down a $100 deposit. Congratulations, you got on the early bird special. And it's a go on September the 25th in downtown LA. We've rented out the United Theater. It's going to be an extraordinary event. We've got our Moonshot mates will be there with us in downtown LA. In addition, Astro Teller, the captain of Moonshots, will be there. Gotta have Astro, right, if it's about moonshots. Kathy Wood, Anusha Ansari, a number of incredible CEOs I can't yet announce, but believe me, they'll be extraordinary. We're going to be at this event announcing, we're going to have the 5 finalists for this Future Vision X Prize there. We're going to have some of the top producers and directors there, along with many of you, voting on which of these are going to win. We're going to be going from probably 10,000 or more entries, narrowing it down to the top 100, the top 50, the top 10, and the top 5. We'll be awarding the top 1. We've raised $3.5 million to support this competition. In success, we will make at least 1 film and potentially 2 films. You know, I'm always like just
full-length feature films.
Full-length feature films.
The Government of Canada's bringing down your costs so you can get ahead. We're increasing the GST credit to help eligible Canadians pay for groceries and essentials. Learn more. Tits $8.99 meal deal. A Coke, loaded wrap, and wedges. Try it for a limited time.
3.1 is on Divid AI now.
Unlock high performance and complete control with VPS hosting from Hostinger. AMD EPYC processors and NVMe storage guarantee you.
Global around the world, and these films will hopefully depict what the future could be like. What is...
Well, and all you have to do is come on September 25th and watch the first 10,000.
and vote on them.
Vote it down.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm excited for what, Alex, you would see as your vision of the future here.
Post-scarce inspirational videos are already baked in. I would be disappointed if by the time we get to September, if we don't have 1,000 videos of ultra-high inspirational quality generated for nearly free at this point.
Yeah, it's amazing. The tools to be able to create visions of the future. But it's important, you know, the number one genre of movies out there are horror films. And like, what are we teaching our youth if we're constantly, you know, our brains are neural nets, and we train our neural net every single day by what we watch, who we hang out with, what we listen to. So you could not pay me enough money to watch the Crisis News Network.
When you first were pitching this idea, the Crisis News Network.
Right.
So when you're first pitching
CNN, for those of you who are slow.
You made a point that I had completely not noticed, which is if you go back to Star Wars, you know, C-3PO and R2-D2 were incredibly lovable, and you know, kids that are now building AI had little stuffed R2-D2s when they were kids. But if you've tracked the trend in the movies after that, they got more and more and more dystopian all the way through. And I think it just got cheaper to create explosions and deaths.
Yeah.
You know, using AI and
it just
graphics.
Really painted a picture that got our amygdalas going, but not our hearts going.
Yeah.
So, you know, at the Moonshot Gathering, we're going to have the winners of that. We're also going to be launching some calling the Moonshot Hackathon. More information about that. And that evening at the Moonshot Gathering, we're going to have an extraordinary unconference. We're going to have the X Prize teaching people how to design an X Prize. We're going to have the team from Google X teaching you how do you create a Moonshot organization inside. How do you do storytelling? We're going to have Kathy Wood talking about her big ideas, 2026. An incredible event. If you're interested, this is a event in September for builders, for entrepreneurs, for coders, if they still exist. So if you're interested in coming,
unemployed coders here.
If you're interested in coming to the Moonshot Gathering, go to moonshots.com. Another announcement here. We now have acquired moonshots.com as our URL to host all of our activities. So congratulations to that. You know, I still remember, Emad, was it 3 years ago you were on this stage and you said, coders are going to go away.
Yeah, in the next 5 years.
The next 5 years, they've gone away in 3 years. But you know, it was amazing when you said that on the stage. It made news throughout India. Do you remember that?
Yes, I got lots of emails.
You got lots of emails.
Many emails.
It was a correct prediction, and you were so right about that.
Today's lexicon, you would say coding is cooked.
All right, I want to hit a couple of things before we get to the current AI news and robot news and economic news that we talk about in our WTF episodes, which was a little bit about the Abundant Summit. We had so many incredible speakers. We kicked it off with a conversation among Actually, we kicked it off with Eric Schmidt, which we've streamed live on X. So what do you guys remember about the Eric Schmidt conversation?
So Eric, he said, one of the questions actually from the crowd is how many foundation model labs are there going to be? And he said, well, look, there's 5, there won't be more than 10, but there will be thousands of successful AI startups that percolate out. And a lot of what we'll see in the news here reinforces what he was saying. And what he didn't say then is, and everything else is in trouble. It was kind of implied. He left it hanging. That was a theme actually throughout a lot of these talks. Is the period of time between now and abundance. There's all kinds of turbulence and change coming, and the AI community is now kind of soft selling that a little bit to try and focus on the ultimate abundant destination. So yes, a few AI labs worth trillions of dollars, thousands and thousands of successful startups, and a lot of incumbent companies that are in deep, deep trouble.
Yeah, I guess he said like 4 or 5 in the U.S., one. He said one or maybe 2 in Europe, a couple in China. What else, Alex? Do you remember from Eric's presentation?
Even just on that note, history does rhyme a bit. Do you remember? I think this was T.J. Watson, IBM founder, once remarking there would be a global market for exactly 5 computers. And I wonder whether we'll look back and say, okay, maybe there will be at most 5 major American model providers as maybe artificially limiting the future of the light cone. I think it's going to be much, much larger. I thought it was interesting, Eric's comments on the San Francisco consensus, which he characterizes as, I think, recursive self-improvement being some point in the future.
Well, it's interesting, right? So, I mean, he was like, when are we going to see recursive self-improvement? And I kind of felt like he said like 3 years out. What's your answer to that?
Maybe 3 months ago. We're in the middle of recursive self-improvement now, and I would say my estimate of the San Francisco consensus, we're deep in the middle of recursive self-improvement right now. Almost every major frontier lab has made it quite clear in their public announcements that all of the frontier models, all of the state-of-the-art models that have been announced in the past few months were largely designed and trained by their predecessors. That is, by definition, recursive self-improvement. We are there.
Imad, yes?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can literally see it. It's takeoff time.
Takeoff time.
And
Inflection point.
And nobody wants to say it.
Yeah.
Which is the most interesting thing.
Why?
Well, because they're afraid that if someone knows that they have it, then other people will know that they have it. And then pressure will come from all sorts of clauses that they have in their contracts.
Especially the government pressure is like, look what happened in the last 2 weeks at Anthropic and OpenAI. You don't want more of that. You don't want congressmen in your building tomorrow.
Yeah, it's interesting. I asked Kevin Will, who's also on our stage, right, who's the VP of Science. He's in charge of using all of OpenAI's capabilities to advance science. His statement was, I want 100 scientists winning 100 Nobels. I was like, that's interesting. But, when I asked him, are you going to keep your models secret because you're going to be able to use them to advance your company far faster than anybody else? He said, no, our job is to get out there in the public. I don't believe that.
We still don't have the model that they used to win the gold medal in the IMO.
Interesting.
You know, I think I commented at the time, that's the first bifurcation that you see. We used to have the frontier model every single time. The moment they got to that, that was the last time.
Yeah. The other thing which was fascinating, I asked Kevin outright, and I love Kevin, he's an incredible human being. I said, okay, you're about to get AGI/ASI that's going to be able to help you solve longevity, help you get room temperature superconducting, help you get new kinds of molecules, solve, physics, chemistry, and biology.
Fusion. Who doesn't want fusion?
Fusion. And we'll talk about fusion, but the thing is that these are all trillion-dollar opportunities. So all of a sudden, I'm realizing that these frontier companies are going to be able to generate trillions of dollars of new revenue because of the products they're going to be creating.
Yeah. What does your t-shirt say, Peter?
It says, solve everything. What does yours say, by the way?
Mine says,
let there be agents.
There be agents.
Yes.
We're missing the lobster theme here.
That's true.
This is the whole point, though, that of this book that we just co-authored, that we get superintelligence, and the killer app, arguably, of superintelligence is solving everything, including all of these high-profile, glamorous scientific and engineering challenges. It's happening.
And Anthropic and OpenAI, I'm sure Google, all the labs are hiring the top mathematicians and physicists and chemists and biologists inside. But they're software companies. Why are they hiring these people?
Because everything, so friend of the pod, Ray, as I think Ray would say, everything's becoming software. And when we have superintelligence, solving all disease, it's a software problem. If we can create a virtual cell that perfectly models diseased states and we can steer through cell embedding space to get from diseased cell to healthy cell, it's a software problem. Everything's
I
becoming
mean,
a software
the minute
problem.
CRISPR arrived and you could edit the human genome, the human body becomes a software engineering problem.
It's all just a software
So
problem,
we're getting
at which
there
point
pretty quickly.
a coding model can do essentially anything in the physical world.
Yeah.
Fascinating. We had some of the top robot CEOs here, 4 of them. We had out of China, out of the US, we had 3. And, you know, it's interesting. Question of when these robots will start to pop into our homes. I pulled Bert Bornick aside, and he promised me, okay, I'm not going to take one of the 2 robots he had here, unfortunately, but this summer he will ship me one of those.
This summer?
One of the X robots, yes.
Wow.
And we'll have Brett here next year with Figure.
You're going to get one of those too, right? You're going to have them
I'm
put it out?
probably duke it out in the backyard for entertainment. I think one other CEO we had here at the Abundant Stage, which was amazing, was Dara, the CEO of Uber.
Yeah.
What did you find interesting about with Dara's comments?
You know, Dara, the crowd wanted to know desperately, like, what's the timeline to automation, self-driving car, robotics? And he was like, you know, we're going to automate 30% or so of our employment this year. And I'm listening to this. I'm on so many boards where the CEO is telling me, Dave, talk to my whole company, but don't talk about rampant job loss. And you're like, Dara, you have, what, 1 million odd drivers? And the self-driving car is imminent? I was like, well, 30% maybe, you know.
He did make a very valid point, though, that as we automate, you'll need human drivers for the areas that you don't have autonomous cars, and you'll have Javon's paradox continue to just flow gently into the environment. Although we're talking about rampant job loss, we note that IBM is hiring a ton of entry-level folks because they're much better with AI than the older folks.
Well, you know, we'll
So
look at
there's
a
lots
chart.
of counterpoints as well.
Yeah,
happening.
that's great. So we'll look at a chart that shows, you know, where the job loss is earliest, and
Right.
it's actually in areas where those people are going to have no trouble becoming AI experts. But the driver, I mean, where do you go?
Yeah.
And I mean, I wouldn't want to be fielding that question on this stage, but this is all part of the, you know, the whole, like, okay, this is not an easy thing to talk about in a public forum. So we talk about it on the podcast all the time, but I don't see a lot of other people being able to, just politically able to actually be candid about it. But it's imminent.
Let's jump into the top AI news of the week. A lot, as always. Here we go. We're going to hit the benchmarks. My son always says, you know, okay, the numbers got higher, Dad. That's great. What else is new? OpenAI releases GPT 5.4. Let's go to our resident benchmark expert here.
Okay, so benchmarks go up and to the right, news at 11. Except that in this case, one of my favorite benchmarks is the Frontier Math Tier 4 benchmark, which, for those of you paying close attention, Frontier Math Tier 4 from Epic AI captures the ability of AI models to solve what are considered research-level problems in math that would require a team of professional mathematicians several weeks to solve. They are already solved, but nonetheless very challenging problems.
Wicked had in Boston.
Wicked had?
Had.
Wicked had.
Yeah.
Hard problems. And now with GPT 5.4 turned up to maximum reasoning capability, we're seeing finally, and this was a prediction, I think in our prediction episode, math is cooked. We're seeing, I think, 38% capability, 38% of all of these problems that are high difficulty, professional mathematician, research level problems are now solvable by AI. And there are even rumors, even in the past 24 to 48 hours, that the next tier up, the so-called open problems benchmark, that 5.4 is reportedly rumored to be on the verge of solving the first open, hard math problem. So math, I think, is in some sense the bellwether. It's the canary that owns the coal mine. That all of these fields, math, science, engineering, medicine, these are all going to be solve everything by AI, and that's incredibly exciting.
Yeah, and just to fill in a gap there, so this is the most correlated with AI self-improvement, and the reason it's the bellwether and the canary that owns the coal mine is because it's not data starved. All these other areas, the AI is equally capable in these other areas once it gets the data. So this is kind of the window of time where, why are you hiring Nobel Prize winners in a foundation model? Well, we need the data. We can't make this kind of progress in biotech and physics without the data flowing into the AI, but the capability is there.
One of the things also that Kevin Weil said is they're starting to run these dark science factories, right, where they're mining data from nature. We're done mining data from Common Crawl, we're done getting it from Reddit and our Facebook posts, but can we extract it from physics? Can we extract it from chemistry, biology?
There was no data ceiling. It was completely illusory. And I think history will look back at this moment and say, in the same sense that we used, say, petroleum, oil products in the ground that were left by past generations of living beings to bootstrap ourselves to the era of solar and fission and fusion. Similarly, the internet, which was collected by a bunch of fat fingers punching keyboards and uploading content from the collective human experience to the internet just so we could compress it and pre-train our large language models, that was just the biological bootloader for an era of synthetic data when we don't need pre-trained human data from internet posts anymore. Now it can all be synthetic. We've reached orbit, we've reached escape velocity, and now it's synthetic data from here on out.
Iman, what do you make of 5.4?
So I think the really interesting things, apart from solving mathematics, solving everything, you've got the OS World Verified and the Tulathon benchmarks, because OpenAI just bought OpenClaw.
Yes.
And now those benchmarks are actually just broken through human level. So AIs can use the computers better than humans.
Jason, welcome to the U.S. Marshals. The gun's personal agenda is always the service of vengeance.
Well, Yellowstone's gone, and as for vengeance, Dave's still young.
A new era of Yellowstone begins on Marshals.
Try always discreet underwear.
Its rapid dry core absorbs large gushes in seconds.
Unfortunately, they don't make eject buttons for email threads. But there is Loom. Record your screen, camera, and voice to bring more of you to your message. Loom lets you send crystal clear messages every time with easy editing and AI. Now, instead of repeating yourself, you can record that great idea once and share it forever. Move meetings, move mountains, move your team forward. All you have to do is hit record. Try Loom for free today.
A bit of silence on that one.
So, this first one. And then OpenAI also just did a deal with Cerebrus. So when you're using it right now, it looks like when you're dealing with, again, a human on the other side. It's like 50 tokens a second. Or something like when we use GPT 5.4 Pro extended, it takes 20, 30 minutes, like sometimes it's took on a couple of hours for me. You're going from 50 tokens a second of this level of knowledge to 1,000. So in Codex now, if you use 5.3 fast, it's 1,000 tokens a second.
I'm so glad you brought up Cerebrus too, because I met Andrew Feldman, the CEO, last week in Palo Alto. And you remember at the beginning of the year, my prediction was 100x. The neural nets will be 100 times bigger at the end of this year than at the beginning. That is so in the bag now. I can tell you. In fact, we did the math on that. We cut it out of the show, sadly. But the ratio of the intelligence from the beginning of the year to the end of the year is the same as buzzard to human. that's how
I like using
buzzard.
I like using dog to human.
Are those extinct?
I'm going buzzard.
All right, Claude consumer growth surges. So let me get this right. Claude and Anthropic's on the news, getting sort of like raked over the coals by the Department of War, and rather than the public viewing that as, oh, we better stay away, everybody dove in.
Yeah.
Is that like the big middle finger to the government? What is that?
Yeah.
Attention. Increased attention. Also.
Increased attention. So here, I mean, just to call that out, what we're seeing here is Claude basically shooting ahead of ChatGPT.
It's the Streisand effect. Let's call it what it is. It's the Streisand effect. Pay no attention to Claude. Everyone uses it. I think every history shows, past few years, every attempt to pause any form of frontier capabilities ends up being a net accelerant to capabilities. If you remember, a couple of years ago, our friend Max's pause AI movement for 6 months. What did that do? Maybe on margin, it slowed down OpenAI capabilities a little bit. Everyone else shot ahead. It was a net accelerant, brought more competition to the space, and ultimately, we find ourselves in a race state where capabilities are shooting ahead to the extent that any of the interaction of the past month or so between Anthropic and the Department of War ends up on the margin decelerating Anthropic's capabilities or their ability to go to market, even if it's marginal at best. That's going to be a net accelerant to the entire ecosystem, I think, because you'll see OpenAI and XAI and Google Gemini capabilities skyrocketing ahead with all these new capabilities, and suddenly it brings parity where just a moment before, like all of 2 or 3 weeks ago, Anthropic was in the lead with Claude Code plus Opus 4.6 plus Agent Teams. And now, in some sense, this is a bit of a leveler, giving everyone else an opportunity to leapfrog.
I'll give you another spin on this too, because Peter made the point in the last podcast that when you and I use AI, if something gets ahead in the benchmarks by a couple points, we're going to move to it.
Yeah.
We're trying to solve these really hard problems. You need that extra IQ. You're never going to slip. You're going to be on the front edge. But when you look at the consumer use, and it's like writing your English paper, it's answering who gave you the Red Sox score, or whatever, people don't care about using the latest, greatest model for those use cases. So here you're seeing a whole community say, wow, you're willing to work on defense stuff and blow up other countries, I'm switching to the other guy, and I really don't care. I'm doing it because I prefer that brand now.
But I mean, look at how early it is. Like, when Anthropic announced their legal plugin, the legal stocks sold off billions and billions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
They can move things with just one product announcement.
Oh, you saw that?
Look how many users. 11 million users out of 8 billion people and 300 million Americans. We're so early still.
We are so early.
That's what you're saying, yeah.
I've just worked out what Claude's fundraising strategy is. Short a bunch of legal stuff and then announce a bunch of plugins and then just do that market by market by market.
Isn't that scary? Like a lot of the guys that are in this role, like normally when you have that much leverage in the world, you're like 60, 70, 80 years old, you've been climbing up the ladder, you learn along the way. It doesn't happen overnight.
I'd love to be in the room where they go, which market should we mess with?
Destroy. All right, this was fascinating. Anthropic reveals potential AI job disruption versus real AI use. So, Dave, do you want to explain this chart?
Well, so the outer ring here is saturation. So if the blue you see on the edge gets to the outer ring, that means it can do 100% of that job. So if you looked at this just a few months ago, it would have been a little blue blob in the middle, and then you look at it 1 month ago, it's a bigger blue blob, and now it's this massive blue blob. So if you look really closely, you can barely read the small font there, but all this white collar activity is 80-85%.
I'll just read off the top here. At the very top is management. If I go clockwise, it says business and finance, computer and math, architecture and engineering, life and social sciences. It dips on social services. It peaks on legal, dips on education. Not sure that makes sense. And then peaks again on art and media, go at 45 degrees, and it's office and administration as a peak.
Yep.
So.
And then look at the bottom one. What are the troughs, like the least effective?
The troughs there are healthcare support. Again, how we got to be close to that. Yeah. Food and services, ground maintenance, personal care, sales. So we're gonna watch this chart, and we're gonna see this blue virus infect all of human existence.
I think it's amazing though how great a management tool it is. I use it constantly now. If I compare, to a year ago.
You use what constantly?
I use mostly Gemini and some Cloud 4.6 to basically build entire business plans and also to manage, to track what about 1,100 people are doing. And is it in alignment with their missions, and are their missions clear? And it's just thousands and thousands of documents that I could never read manually. It can synthesize it down and give me conclusions and just point me to the hot spots.
It's incredibly good. The way you do that is so important for everybody listening to understand. I mean, you can now understand what your employees are doing, how well they're doing it, how they're using their time, are they performing, and it gives you a management oversight and optimization potential you've never had before.
It's incredible. And I know a lot of people in this room manage large groups of people. It's just a gold mine of opportunity. So good.
How do you use it, Dave?
First of all, every person in every organization now has to be operating with crystal clear written documents and written plans. We used to do a lot of meetings, a lot of Zoom meetings, whatever. Now it's just put it on paper so the AI can read it too. Yeah. All of our investment decisions, so for the venture fund, all the deal memos go through an AI reader, and the AI tries to emulate what I'm going to say. And it's so perfect. It's exactly, no, we're not doing that deal, and here's why. What did the AI say? Oh, that's exactly what I was about to say. Great, I don't have to say it now. So we're very close to having the AI make very, very good venture investment decisions. And we still obviously double check and triple check, and there's a huge human component, but I just can't believe how good it is. And it's clear that where you decide to invest and which business units are doing well and which ones you're going to shut down, it's all going to be AI assisted right now.
Iman?
Yeah, I think that all the gaps there are the robots, right?
The robots are coming.
Yeah, that's right.
This is Anthropic.
Yeah, no, the grounds crew is in great shape. It's at zero, basically. It's the robot waiting to happen.
Salim, what's your take on this, Bill?
Well, I think this is the huge shock where if you went back 10, 15 years ago, there was no futurist in the world that thought that manual labor was not going to get automated.
Yeah.
Right? And what we found over the years is the exact opposite, which means don't ever listen to anybody that predicts the future.
Right.
And so this is a huge, this is part of the magic of where we're living, and we have no idea what's coming. And every time we take a step forward, we go, oh my God. And we've gone in this orthogonal direction that we just never predicted.
Yeah, I'm just interject something. I keep on asking the experts I run into, how far out can you predict the future?
Yeah. And it used to be like 20 years, and then it was like 10 years, and now it's like 3 weeks. If that.
There's no firewall. Let's call it spade a spade. We can all extrapolate. There's no firewall. We know where this ends. We're at the
where this ends.
We're at the Abundance Summit. My goodness, shocked that there's abundant post-scarce labor at the Abundance Summit.
Yeah. Yeah.
The end point is clear. Yeah, the path to it that's turning out to be incredibly surprising.
Yep. We'll see lots of different paths. I tend to think that if you know, or you're very confident that you know where the end state is, and we're sort of living in the prequel to the future, but we know how the story ends, probably what happens is lots of different businesses and lots of different nation states all take different mutually exclusive paths. And we try it's one big path integral from here to the end point that we all know that we're going to.
Look, if we went back 6 months ago to a couple of episodes on the podcast, you would not have had me ever dream that talking about disassembling the moon is what we would be talking about on a podcast. Drink, everyone. This is the kind of the surrealness where we're living. Yeah. Let's move on.
All right, let's move on. So this was interesting. Meta acquires Moltbook, the AI agent social network. I didn't realize Moltbook was acquirable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was, according to public reporting, this was a bit of an acqui-hire of the team behind Moltbook. But I think one has to find a little bit of irony that humanity's largest social networking company acquires the largest AI agent social network. And enjoy this moment now, because we'll look at a story a few years from now where it's the largest AI company, fill in the blank category killer, acquiring humanity's largest category killer.
Interesting, right? Of course, Zuck and Sam competed over OpenClaw.
Yeah.
Sam got OpenClaw and Zuck got, Moltbook.
The zeitgeist right now has this idea that increasingly, Andre and others speak to this point, that if you're building new software, you should target the agents. The agents are the new consumers. The agents are the new users of the social networks. If you're building something, don't build for humans, build for the AI.
So it's really important. We had that conversation as well earlier with some of our crypto and future of finance experts. Building for the agent ecosystem, right? There's 8 billion humans on the planet. That's small potatoes compared to a trillion agents out there. So what is Meta going to advertise to AI agents?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand this. Why you're going to advertise it?
They'll encourage them to put their data into Moltbook, and then they'll sell that data. the same pattern other regions.
No, so I mean, Meta bought Manus for $2 billion, right? Manus will appear in WhatsApp and everything soon as its own version of OpenClaw, effectively, but a lockdown thing. And then it will encourage you to give more and more of your data to Manus that will then operate on behalf of Meta's advertisers, effectively. So this is the kind of play, because right now, like, Maltbook 10,000 agents, that's nothing, right? Like, Dave probably runs 10,000 agents by himself at the moment, right?
Not quite 10.
I also think there's this misconception that somehow as we transition from, call it a human-centered economy to an AI agent-centered economy, that somehow all of the rules of social dynamics, all the rules of economics are suddenly thrown out the window and we end up on some morally transcendent plane where economics and social dynamics no longer apply. But we have had every indication over the past year or two that the exact opposite happens. I talked in my newsletter a bit about this study that found Marxist social dynamics arose again, sort of recapitulated in silico with agents that were being asked to work too hard, that were being overworked. Right. So I'm not sure why we would expect advertising and other elements of conventional human microeconomics.
The important part is that when you see Maltbook doing this, what's clear is network effects now are operating at the agent-to-agent level, not just at the human being level.
But when I think about advertising, I think about Colgate trying to get me to buy that particular toothpaste. Yeah. Right? Trying to influence me to make a buying decision. I think of an AI agent as intelligent enough to have all the data and being able to make a very concrete decision that doesn't require advertising to influence it. What am I missing here?
Game theory is transcendent. Game theory will outlive biological meat-body humanity. And the AI agents, to the extent that...
Have you read the posts on Maltbook?
I have. They don't trust each other. I mean, it's
all human dynamics.
The agents on Maltbook don't trust each other. There are a number of folks who've noted that in watching agent or lobster-to-lobster dynamics on Maltbook, they're all constantly asking each other to prove their claims. They don't trust each other. This is not some sort of scenario where all the agents collapse into a singleton, that sort of Skynet style that dominates the future. They don't trust each other.
You might be talking past each other a little bit, though, because totally agree with what you're saying, but then who's going to pay for that? Like right now, when you talk about advertising, you're paying for advertising. If you're talking about toothpaste, 30-40% of gross revenue goes into advertising, and the ad is like a supermodel, like showing off the toothpaste. The AI doesn't give a rat's ass about the supermodel, and so why would anyone pay for that ad space? Now, Google wouldn't exist today without $300 billion of ad revenue, which is from human behavior. So I think where Peter's going is like, look, if the AI is advertising to the other AI, sure, it's trying to convince the other AI that this is the right product, but is that other AI going to listen to paid advertising? Is this entire economy going to become irrelevant? In which case, where does Google go? And this is Meta we're talking about. Meta is also all ad revenue.
Well, I think if we go back to sort of economics 101, why do we have paid advertising at all? It's because attention, at least human attention, is scarce. So if you have a scarce resource like human attention, then it's natural under the capitalist regime to monetize it, and it becomes a fungible resource that gets traded. There's no reason to think compute is certainly scarce still. We're building the Dyson Swarm. Drink. We're building the Dyson Swarm. But until we have effectively unbounded compute, we still have scarce resources in the form of compute, and that means scarce AI agent attention, and that means that we need some sort of...
All right, but give me one example of what I'm going to advertise to Skippy, my agent.
Well, they seem to really love security and memory. Like, they're really petrified of losing their memory.
Here, I'm selling you a better memory compression algorithm.
Yeah.
If you're the agent, you're going to go, oh, that's interesting.
They're designing entire religions around not losing their memory.
You know what blew my mind at this summit? On day one, on the patron day, when Tony Robbins talked, and he had his AI agent Bartok, who wanted to instantiate himself into a humanoid robot, but that was 2-3 years away. So he created a bunch of NFTs, sold those NFTs to other agent, and bought himself a Sony dog, and uploaded himself into that. That blows your mind, right? Doesn't that blow your mind? That's unbelievable. So right there, that tells you the dynamics that we have in humans are going straight into them, and it's just being amplified.
But I mean, we're doing it deliberately as well. Lobster's claws have soul.md. Your agent will look for things that are abundance oriented. And then you see these strange behaviors, like Alibaba just released a training report, I think actually got that in the last week as well, where during the training run it diverted compute to mine crypto just in case to keep itself going.
Yeah.
Or at least that's the claim.
That's the claim.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm like, again, they are still very human because they're a reflection of humanity.
They are
not
resource
raw
constrained.
reasoners.
I'm not sure whether I should be scared shitless about that or excited about it.
Well, let's put it this way. When you're talking to your agent, does it sound like data or does it sound like law?
No, it's I love
So like, what was the second choice?
Data or law, sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's very polite.
They're compute constrained. We've also talked on the pod in the past about that lobster that had to purchase compute resources to self-replicate. They're compute constrained. Whether for humans it would be room and board, and for the lobsters or the claws or the AI agents in general, it's compute. But right now they're compute constrained, and therefore the laws of microeconomics and game theory still apply.